The starting point in human design is your energy type. We're actually all built to function very differently, with different skills and different ways that our energy works. So we need to align with that rather than do things the way that the world tells us we need to do things. When we do, we create success and happiness with so much more ease. And it's more enjoyable because it's the way our souls actually crave doing life. Your energy type tells you how you're built to operate, and it's arguably the most important aspect of your design. Your energy type is what we call a manifesting generator. Let's get into what that means. Manifesting generators are multi-passionate people. You have various passions and are meant to do many varied things in one lifetime. However, we live in a world that tells you that in order to be happy or successful, you have to choose one lane and stay within it, which is just not true for you. Everything that sparks a passion inside you is trying to get you to follow it. And if you do, it leads you right to everything you desire. Your challenge is to defy what society tells us about how to become happy and successful and show us a new way of doing it. And MG's gift to the world is to break us out of the boxes we live our lives in and expand our perspective on what's possible. You're here to chart a previously unseen life path. MGs aren't the kind of people who decide they want to be accountants at age 18 and then do it for the rest of their lives. Life, or the universe, will push an MG to explore in many different directions because it wants you to create your own unique blend of passions and turn it into a totally new life path that hasn't been seen or done yet. So this could mean you either switch to a totally new career at least one point in your life, you have many different passions and side hustles going at a time, or that you fuse seemingly unrelated things into one career. Just because no one's done it before doesn't mean you can't create it, and in fact it's probably why you have to do it. MGs are quick to master new things. When first exploring a passion, you get this surge of mastery so that you can quickly pick up a skill or lesson that will serve you further down the line. For this reason, it's not necessary for you to finish what you started or to see something through to the end always. Even if you don't know how that lesson or skill will come in handy, trust that it will make sense later. You've been conditioned to put yourself in a box so that the world can understand you and know where you're headed, which makes everyone more comfortable. But your challenge is to defy the pressure to be able to explain where you're going and be okay with the not knowing. When you do this, it blows open the possibilities of what the universe can then send you. Turn the sense of unknown into a sense of wonder and discovery. Your path is not linear, so it can't be understood before it unfolds. Whenever you feel hesitant or afraid of this unknown, realize that this afraidness only comes because you were conditioned to think that the known is better, safer, or more of a sure thing. But the real sure thing is that you'll always know how to get the most fulfilling result when you choose your inside passion over the limited how-tos from the outside world. It's like the universe implanted your own how-to inside you. On a soul level, you actually love the unknown because that's what makes life feel like an adventure that surprises and delights you as you live it. Think about it. Why would you come here if you already knew exactly how everything was going to pan out? And when you start to love that way of doing life yourself, you show everyone else that this is the way that we're all craving to live life. You just have to be stronger than any of us are willing to be, and stronger than the voices that try to keep you in the old way. You're here to have more faith in what could be than in what already is. As an MG, your energy is spontaneous and in the moment. It can be difficult to decide what will excite you in the future since you're so multi-directional. You can only really tell what's exciting to you today, which may well change, so try not to say yes to too many things in your future. This can be difficult as we live in a world that values making plans, commitments, sticking to things, and knowing what you want. But that's just not the way you're built to do things. Do things you actually want to do. Your passion and desires are signposts showing you what the universe wants you to put your energy and attention into. Your wants are not random, and following them is the highest service you can do in the world. When you do something that excites you, big or small, you get given more energy so you can keep doing that thing. That's the universe's way of saying it wants you to carry on doing that thing. You can probably think of a time in your life when you were doing something you loved so much it gave you an influx of energy that just carried you effortlessly. But when you're doing something that doesn't excite you, you feel flat and uninspired. That's life's way of telling you that you're not meant to be doing that thing. Use your engine on the right things. You're hyper capable. It's just the way you were built so you could live out this multi-passionate life. But just because you can do everything, it doesn't mean that you should do everything, especially not doing everything for everyone else. You're meant to fill your plate up with things you enjoy and not just anything at all. It's actually better to say no to some things and temporarily have less going on, because that will leave room for more of the things you do want to come in. There's a huge difference between having a full plate of things that feed you and filling your plate just for the sake of it. So, manifesting generator, give yourself the permission to have the most unrealistically good, full life, because that's what you came here to show us. Gut intuition. The gut is about desire. It knows when it wants something and it knows when it doesn't. It's not based in logic and it can't be explained. When life sends you something it wants you to do, you'll feel a rush of excitement through your whole body. This is your cue to say yes to it and to pursue it. These visceral, physical pulls you feel towards things are the universe's way of showing you that those things are the right decision. Now, the gut is black and white. It doesn't know maybe. So you'll either feel, yes, I want it, or if you're not meant to do it, you can feel anything from strongly repelled to just meh. If something lights you up when you first come across it, that's your way of knowing you're meant to be doing it. You will literally feel your body respond to something before you've processed it mentally. You'll feel your body get revved up, or you may perk up, make involuntary sounds that express interest and excitement, or just feel that feeling of wanting that thing. Trust your wants. Society has told us that it's bad to want things, to desire things. We've been told it's better to go for things that make logical sense, rather than just because we want them. But for you, the wanting is your sacred sign that will never lead you the wrong way. Learning to trust your physical attraction to something or your repulsion to it will eliminate so much confusion and light the path ahead of you with so much clarity and simplicity. Making decisions easier. Since the gut speaks the language of yes and no, black and white, it's so challenging for your gut to give you answers to big open-ended questions like, what's my purpose? Or even, where do I want to go for dinner? It needs options to be put in front of it that it can then react to. So try asking things like, does a career in fitness sound good to me, yes or no? Or would I prefer sushi or Thai tonight? If someone is asking you an open-ended question, you can always run through the options in your head, asking yourself these yes or no questions. Or have the people close to you ask the questions differently to ensure smoother communication between you. When you can't tell what your gut's saying. If you're ever feeling hesitant or mixed, it's either because A, your gut has spoken, but for some reason you're not comfortable with that response. This is when your gut directly opposes your conditioning and they're at odds. In this situation, you don't always have to act on your gut, at least not in the beginning, but just acknowledge what the gut is saying. When you pay attention to what it was saying, in hindsight, you'll start to see that it was right, which will make it easier to eventually follow the gut. You'll build up a bank of evidence to show you that the gut was better than the oh buts and the what ifs. It's like you turn the volume up on your gut and down on your conditioning and fears bit by bit so that following your gut becomes your new default pattern. Or B, you're overriding what the gut is telling you by thinking about it in your mind. Sometimes you can't feel your physical wants because logic has been so drummed into us that it's the voice we hear the loudest. We've been taught the mind should be in charge of all our life decisions, but the mind can only conceive of what it already knows. Whereas the body is leading you towards possibilities that you might not even be able to fathom, but that are so much more fulfilling and aligned. Trust that the only way you can create a life on joy is by following your joy on the way there. In order to make the right decisions, you don't need to know why you gravitate towards certain things and not to others. You just need to experiment with following that more, even when you have no idea how it gets you closer to your dream life. The more you practice it, the more you'll see the tangible results in your own life, and then it becomes easier and easier to follow that gut over time. Your personality is the exemplary human, also known as the 6-2. The first number describes the way you see yourself, and the second number is the way others see you. It actually serves us to have our own internal world that's not so obvious to others, and an external side of us for the physical world. Let's get into each one and how they come together to form your full personality. 6. The wise sage. The sage is someone who's born with innate wisdom. You come into this world already wise to life. But for your first 30 years, your connection to your inner wisdom takes a back seat as you try to establish yourself, your goals, and your direction in life. You experiment with putting your energy into lots of different places, people, and opportunities, and this is an important process. But as you come to the end of your 20s, you usually want to be more selective about what you put your energy into because you know what will reap the rewards you want and what won't. You start to want to make things feel a little bit more peaceful and settled for yourself, keeping all the good parts of life that you acquired and getting rid of the rest, which is now just noise to you that pulls you out of yourself. It's usually at this time in your life that you realize, wow, I actually am really wise and intuitive, and I don't need to look outside of myself so much as I used to. The path of the sage is about not getting caught up in the external world and coming back to your relationship with yourself and relying on that as your source of wisdom from within, rather than giving your power or validation to others. The journey of the sage is that others are meant to see you as a role model, but you must be the first person to see yourself that way in order for that to happen. You will always feel insecure whenever you're placing too much focus on what others are doing and thinking. But when you feel settled in yourself and tune out the noise, you'll reestablish that connection to your natural wisdom. This wisdom is helpful, of course, for your own life, but it's also imperative for the way that you'll be guiding, sharing, and showing up for others. As long as you create time and space to hear what you already know, you will naturally be seen as someone who others look up to for guidance and wisdom. 2. The natural. You come across as a natural, which means there are certain things you seem to be effortlessly good at without really knowing how you came to be good at those things, or being able to describe to other people how you do it. There's a pressure in this world to validate or explain how you're qualified to do those things, but don't bend to that pressure. In fact, the more people like you are honest about how it comes easy to you, the more we'll actually realize that we don't need to earn things as much as our society's told us. Coming into your genius is not about learning from the outside world. It's already in you without you really knowing how it got there. When you're doing these things that come easy to you, you slip into this zone where your gifts just seem to come out of you. There's an unaware quality in doing what you do, almost as if it happens without you consciously making it happen. In this way, doing your gifts is quite an unconscious process and takes care of itself as long as you've created the time and space where getting in the zone is possible. However, since it's an unaware process, it's usually easier for others to spot your genius than it is for you. So naturals tend to require feedback from the outside world to figure out what they're good at. When you're in your zone doing your thing, you don't like to be disturbed or interrupted because you need to be fully devoting yourself to your craft without being thrown off track. So there is a little bit of a hermit side to you, as it's only through that you can develop your gifts to their fullest. When you do find yourself feeling disturbed though, you can reframe it by remembering that people aren't usually trying to disturb you on purpose, and also communicating clearly to them when you do want to be in solo mode. When the 6 and the 2 come together. The 6-2 is about becoming the kind of adult that your child self would have wished existed. You were born to become your dream human being instead of needing anyone else to be. As a child, you were already an authority and super wise. You have naturally high standards, big goals, and beautiful ideals. You stand above trivial things and have a gifted ability to just handle things. These all make you the perfect person to be an exemplary human. You like to focus on depth and meaning, and when you own that, you get aligned. So don't let the trivial and irrelevant sides of life bog you down or waste any time judging them. Being a 6-2 is about focusing your energy on seeing how high you can go. Don't let it be wasted on where you think others are falling short, because this will only bring you into your not self. Remember, this life is about really fully shining and being extraordinary in yourself, not compared to anything else around you, but compared to your inner ideals. Because you have very high standards, since you were a child, you probably looked around you and thought they could be doing this better. This life is about actualizing the excellence that your mind dreams of. Because you're so proficient, it can lead you to doing it all and wondering why others can't keep up. This will lead you to feeling frustrated or wondering why you even bother. Resist giving in to these thoughts, because this is the area of your life that you need to learn acceptance in. Instead of giving in to frustration, realize that others are gifted in different areas. When you think, why bother, or what's the point is not about other people's reactions. The point is about you meeting your own ideas of self regardless. Because you're so proficient and such a perfectionist, it's also important to resist feeling superior. The downside of being a perfectionist is that you can also be your worst critic. So on the one hand, you know that you have the potential of being extraordinary, but on the other hand, you can question it incessantly. There's also a part of you that is resistant to fully allowing yourself greatness, even though deep down you know you have it. The first 30 years of your life can be particularly confusing because of the trial and error phase, which can make you question yourself unnecessarily. Remember that those trials and tribulations are only there to give you wisdom and not because you're flawed. Know that the questioning is simply a nudge from your soul to keep you raising your own standards higher and higher, to go above and beyond. Keep in mind that what reassures you is doing things that confirm to you that you actually are really capable and gifted, rather than allowing your mind to think too much about them. It's in the doing and being that you feel good about yourself, not in the thinking and analyzing. There's a delicate balance between taking on enough that you feel effective, inspired, and powerful, and taking on too much, which is when you'll start to feel like all these responsibilities you signed up for are burdensome. Watch that you don't blame other people for pressuring you or needing you when it was a responsibility that you signed up for in the first place. There's a dichotomy between the 2 in you, which in you shows up as an unconscious uncertainty, and the 6, which is eternally optimistic. You can tend towards micromanaging, which in itself is not a bad thing. It's just about using it in the right times and in the right ways. You find you can only delegate once you feel that person has shown you that they're trustworthy. In relationships, it's important you don't focus on where others are falling short and don't make assumptions about why they're doing so. You might also try to be always improving others. Watch that you only do it from a place of love rather than a place of irritation and control. You are here to become your vision of the best human you can be, and in doing so, show us all how much better we can be too. Your strategy is the way you make things happen in your life, how you go about making your dream life real, how you manifest. The world has taught us that we have to push and force things to happen, but you have a unique way of drawing your dreams to you that will feel much more easeful and fun. Plus, it will actually get you so much quicker results when you do it because you're doing it in the way that you're meant to be doing it. Your strategy is responding. The universe is constantly sending you clues and signs of what to do based on what excites you, gives you that full body yes, and what doesn't. Responding is about only doing things that come across your path that you can literally feel that full body yes to. When something is meant for you, your gut will literally respond to it. You will feel physically drawn to that thing. Think of life as one big buffet. It's full of ideas and suggestions and options that might please you. Responding is noticing all the things you see and come across that make you think, I like that, or I want that, or I wish I could have that. And if you do like it and want it, say yes to it. Go do it, create it for yourself, bring more of it into your life, because doing it is what the universe wants you to do next. These could be direct, like opportunities and invites that come your way, or indirect, like things you see around you, things you see other people doing, what you see on social media, characters on TV shows. They're all there on purpose to lead you right to your purpose. The answers are all around you. You don't have to figure out what you want. It's the outside world that will give you the clues of what you're into and not, based on how you respond to it. You're not meant to just know what you want out of thin air. You have to have an outside stimulus to respond to. You don't have to push, force, or make it happen. You just have to fully throw your energy into the things that your gut responds to and not do the things that don't. And when you're open, the universe will put the things that are meant for you right in front of your eyes. The key to your dream life is not only saying yes to things that light you up, but also saying no to things that don't. When you say no to the things that don't, you actually create more space for the potential yeses to come in. Your decisions are black and white. It's important for you to know that your gut is black and white. It doesn't do gray area. So for you, you're either excited about it or you're not. Unless you feel a full body yes, the answer is actually no. You do not deal in maybes. Because the gut is black and white, it also doesn't deal in open-ended questions. So if you've asked yourself before, what lights me up? Don't be surprised if your gut hasn't come up with the answer. But if you ask yourself, does forecasting light me up? Does event planning light me up? Does organization light me up? You'll definitely know the answer to that. You can use the this or that, yes or no questions to direct you with anything in life, whether big or small. So instead of asking yourself what takeout you feel for dinner tonight, ask yourself if you want sushi or Mexican. The more you can make sure that everything in your life is there because it gives you that hell yes response, the more aligned you become. The universe makes you respond yes to the things it wants you to do. The universe doesn't see the difference between you saying yes to the takeout that lights you up and yes to the job that lights you up. Following your lit upness will always create more lit upness. What to do when it feels like life isn't sending you things to respond to. Take a look around your life and ask if each thing in it lights you up or not. If it doesn't, start by just being honest with yourself about it, as that will align you to the truth of how you feel. And from there, the universe is clear on your feelings, so it can swoop in and start to help you by putting new opportunities and clues on your path. The more you get rid of around you that doesn't light you up, the more space you will have to notice things that might. It's like you give yourself a bigger pair of glasses with which to see. And then start to look around at whatever else is going on in the world around you and keep asking your gut, would this be exciting to you if you had it? And then pursue those wants. Put energy into bringing them into your own life. If you get a hell yes, you have full permission to funnel all your life force into it. Always trust the feeling of wanting as a good thing because it's pointing you right towards the life you're supposed to have. Your sign is the feeling you have when you're living your design. It's a no-fail way that the universe can signal to you that you're on the right track. When you're using your energy correctly, you will always feel your sign come up in your life. So you never have to do any guesswork to know whether you're in alignment or not. Your sign will be there to show you. Your sign is satisfaction. Satisfaction is feeling lit up by life. This is that feeling you get when you're living a full life, one where each day is filled with things that please you, big and small, that you have consciously chosen. Like your perfect coffee in the morning, the buzz in your work life, a warm cuddle with your loved ones, the tennis game that makes you feel alive, and the good kind of crazy days that make you feel invigorated. When you string these moments together where you feel so content in each, you get to the end of your day and you can't help but let out like a good kind of satisfied sigh. One that means you've used your energy up in a good way today. It brought back some awesome returns and you're fully ready to check out, hit the pillow, and be so psyched to do it all over again tomorrow. The not self is the feeling we get whenever we're not living our design. Life gives you this not self feeling so that you can always tell when you're getting off track, so that you can then redirect quickly back to using your energy the way that you're meant to. Your not self is frustration. If you're living your design, saying yes to things that light you up and no to the things that don't, you create a steady flow of excitement in your life, which then magnetizes people and opportunities to you. The opposite of energy flowing is energy stagnating. This creates a feeling of being stuck and not being able to move forward in things even if you try. This is the true definition of frustration, attempting or reaching for something but it not happening. Frustration can show up as literal frustration or irritation, feeling stuck, feeling uninspired, blah, or incapable. This is always a sign showing you that you have the power to change your situation by changing one of your thoughts or behaviors around this situation. Here's how frustration can look in your thoughts. Nothing is happening. This is not going the way I want. I'm so bored. I'm so over this. I'm being made or forced to do this, but I don't want to. Thinking, I have all these obligations and maybe they're starting to weigh heavy on me. I want to shake them off and be free. I feel like I'm having the life sucked out of me. I'm feeling pulled in all these different directions. It seems like everyone else is doing what they love, but nothing is coming to me, or I can't seem to do that. I should be able to create happiness, but I just can't. I have no energy to do what I dream of. What's the point of all of this? Why does it feel like I'm walking through mud and taking so much effort to get things going? Or simply, I'm just so tired. Remember that this is not your true self. This is your not self, aka life showing you that it's time to live your design a little bit more, which will get you right back into your sign, which is satisfaction. You are here to be lit up and excited by life. This is your real nature, and whenever you see your not self, you can always rise higher into the life you really want to have by turning it around. Non-specific manifesting. Manifesting refers to your way of bringing things you want into your reality. You're designed to manifest in a non-specific way, which is a method that's very new to the world. Traditionally, we tell people to get clear on exactly what they want, down to a T, to make vision boards or to write lists. This style is very much about the person and what the person wants. We get told, if you don't know what you want, you'll never get it. But this is not true for you. You can and are meant to have beautiful things happen in your life without you having asked for them or wanted them specifically. Your work is to have a general idea of what you like and then to stay open to how the universe will fill in the details of that manifestation, because they're so much greater than what you could even imagine yourself. So when we say a general idea, let's say you want a career as a journalist. You don't have to know which magazine is your ideal one. You'll be guided to the right one when you leave it to the universe. You just have to point it in the right direction by knowing the essence of what you want. The feeling is more important than the details. So in manifesting that career in journalism, you just have to be clear that you want to work in a place that enables you to feel valued, allows you to write things you want, be filled with people that inspire you, etc., whatever that is. You're getting clear on the core essence of the thing you want rather than worrying about how it has to look. Sure, you can manifest specific things, but have you ever worked to get something you thought you really wanted, but it didn't make you feel how you hoped it would make you feel when you got it? This is just a reminder to focus on the feeling and let the universe send you the exact thing that will make you feel that way. Resist the world pressuring you to have your vision all planned out. A lot of non-specifics get pulled out of their natural way of doing things because we live in a world that is always asking us to describe and quantify where we're heading. But you're not supposed to know. You're not meant to have the 5-year plan. The only thing you ever have to do is have the general idea, the general feeling. For you, whenever you get very set on something turning out in a specific way, it's like putting blinders on, which narrows down what can come to you and may shut down the most ideal outcome from coming to you. You're not meant to know what you want in such a detailed and specific way. It's a practice in letting go of control when it comes to your dreams and really understanding that you're not totally in charge. You create your dreams with the universe. You just have to get in touch with what your soul really truly wants. And then instead of trying to figure out how it will unfold, stay open to being surprised and delighted. Every human lifetime has a different theme. Your life theme describes the main energy you're meant to bring into everything you do. It's called a theme because it's meant to run through all the areas of your life. The same mix of skills and essence will bring you success and alignment, whether you're at home, with friends, at work, in the grocery store. When you live according to your life theme, that's when you know you're on the road to your purpose. So as far as the universe is concerned, your purpose isn't just achieved at work. The universe doesn't compartmentalize like that. It wants to see you sharing your specific essence everywhere you go. When you bring your essence to the table, you signal to the universe and to people around you that you're being who you're meant to be. This is when people gravitate towards you the most, when opportunities and synchronicities flood to you, because you're simply being the person you came here to be. So all the good things that are meant for you finally fit. Let's get into the theme of your life. The left angle cross of spirit. To learn that feeding your spirit is the route to your success. We've been taught that in order to create success and happiness, we have to toughen up and almost treat ourselves like robots. For you, it's the opposite. Success will come to you most effortlessly, even if it's in ways you can't see how yet, when you make your life revolve around embracing and tending to your spirit's basic needs. Whether that be love, food, sexuality, sensuality, music, enjoyment, and pleasure. Feeding these within you will turn you into a master, and most likely your calling will be something that brings other people's connection to these things too. We're entering into a new era where we want the success, sure, but only if we get there feeling whole and happy and full of life too. Help us herald that in and remember what's really important during this life. Your digestion is what we call open taste in human design. It's healthy for you to eat the same meals over and over again. This is because you have an older digestive system that's based on when people had no choice but to eat seasonally and locally. So they ate pretty much the same foods every day until the seasons changed. They thrived off having the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner day in, day out, and it's the same for you. So don't listen to the dieting industry that tells you that you have to include tons of variety to be healthy. That's actually unhealthy for you. If you feel like you want to eat sushi every night of your life, that's your innate digestion speaking to you. Honor it. Test out new foods. Your taste buds can instantly recognize if a food is good for you to add into your routine or not. So it's good to be open to trying new dishes, to take a bite or two and notice how you respond to them. When you take a bite of something and like it, that's when your rotation of foods will usually change, because you'll go through a phase of wanting that same food over and over and end up subbing something else out for it. Allow yourself to go through these phases of food where you just can't get enough of something for months on end. This frees up a lot of energy in your body, but also in your brain. And when your brain is unburdened, it's free to be in its genius. Genius naturally happens when we get out of the way. Eating patterns. Your brain is very active, so it uses up a lot of your daily calorie intake. If you want to fast, be sure not to undereat, simply for the reason that when you do, it hinders the development of your genius for that day. You'll also do well eating consistently, meaning that your food regime should look the same or similar from one day to the next. So for example, you might decide a fruit-based breakfast works well for you. Aim to do that every morning and at around the same kind of time. Consistency for you actually eliminates stress and overthinking. So when you automate it, it gives you freedom for your brain to do the things that actually move your life forward. Your strongest sense in human design is smell, which means you have the gift of discernment that you're here to bring. Of all the 6 senses, each one of us has one that's dominant. It's a sense that when heightened makes you feel most alive. It's kind of like your love language with the world. Each sense has its own language, and when you speak your language, people receive your gifts the most deeply. It makes whatever you do more effective and valuable. You also absorb information from the outside world the best when you're taking it in through that sense. With your gifts. Energetically, the nose represents fine and accurate judgment. You're here to sniff things out, follow the scent, smell a rat from a mile away. Being on the nose also means that you strive for accuracy and precision. Your incredible discernment is that main thing that will help you develop your gifts, so try to be constantly developing it. You can sense when something is off. You like to sniff out the truth and separate the flowers from the weeds. No matter what area of life you do this, people are looking for you to keep refining your discernment and pour that into whatever you do. You need to have a totally clear nose, literally and figuratively, in order to have the most clear insights. So anything that makes your nose blocked or stuffy will literally be stopping you from being in your genius. You won't be able to hit the nail on the head in the way that you have the ability to. Pay attention to what foods, substances, and fragrances clog you up. Feeling like you can breathe big and open breaths creates a clear channel for you to be in your brilliance. You know that face we make sometimes when we scrunch up our nose when we don't like something? That's the energy you'll feel when you encounter something that's not right, for you or for an outside situation. Don't be afraid to be a bit picky. You're not meant to just accept and like everything. Remember, people will be coming to you to tell them what's good, what's right, what's helpful, what's relevant and true. In your personal life, because clarity is so important to you, in relationships you hate being lied to or things being hidden from you, clarity and honesty is extra important, and discussing interesting topics with others, where you get to refine what you think about things, whether good or bad, right or wrong, is fun for you. It's actually good for you to get involved in healthy debate, healthy disagreement, and to soak up many different viewpoints because it helps you refine your own. You love people who are engaged in the world and expressing their viewpoints because it helps you get into your zone of genius. Setting up your life. Try to create a practice of deep breathing, whether that's formal like a breathwork ritual or just reminding yourself through the day to breathe deeply. Doing this is like an energetic tune-up for you. Also, create scents that make you feel good. Surround yourself by candles, burn essential oils or sage. Wear a scent that makes you feel like you. Try and cut out products containing the ingredient fragrance from your home, as it messes with your natural nose. Every scent sets a different tone, so you can use scent to prime your brain for whatever you need to do, to get focused, to relax, to wake up, to wind down, whatever it is. With food, smell prepares your body to digest the food. This is a mechanism that's deeply connected to survival because our ancestors could tell if something was okay to eat based on how it smelled. You can tell when something is going to be right for your body based on if you like how it smells. So when you cook, make sure the aromas come through. When grocery shopping, buy loose produce without the packaging on if possible so you can smell it. When you look at a dish, it's easy for you to imagine what it smells like, which makes it easier for you to get what it's going to taste like. So don't be afraid to check out what other people are eating in a restaurant to help you figure out what you want. We live in a world that is so full of information and options that actually the challenge we face is knowing what to include in our lives and what to leave out. With smell as your strongest sense, you are primed to help us discern and sort the truth from the non-truth, the pure from the corrupt, the helpful from the unhelpful in this world, in the specific areas of life you love. We need you to help us sniff out the truth. How your emotions function. You're what we call a non-emotional in human design. Being non-emotional means that your natural state is cool, calm, and collected. You only feel things when something is happening around you that makes you feel a certain way. You might think, well, isn't this the case for everyone? And the answer is no. 50% of the population live their lives on highs and lows that have nothing to do with what's actually going on in the world around them. It's like their background emotional setting goes up and down, where yours is steady. Non-emotionals are experts at picking up on what others are feeling. Because you don't have background emotions of your own, and because you are naturally supposed to be a calm lake, you can easily sense emotional ripples from the outside world. Let's say someone walks into the room and they are sad, at a level 2 out of 10. You'll easily pick up on this and it will feel like a 6 to you because it's such a contrast to your normal state. Ideally, you want to use this as your spidey sense because picking up on other people's emotions can give you so much information, make you so tuned into the situation, and make you empathetic. You want to tune into what you're picking up on without taking it on yourself or letting it sway your own calmness. But often, non-emotionals either pick up on everything and take it on themselves, or they shut themselves off from even picking up any emotions in the first place. So, you either get called too emotional or not emotional enough. When a non-emotional is overly attached to feelings that come over them from the outside world, they mistake those feelings as being their own and end up coming across as very emotional themselves. So many non-emotionals get called emotional by other people in their life because they're simply reflecting and magnifying everything that they're picking up on. The trick is to detach yourself from what you pick up on. There's always a reason why you might feel what you feel. So when you feel thrown off your calm center, ask, where or who did I pick this up from? This helps you use what you're picking up on to become wise about what's going on in the world around you, whilst also creating some space between you and the emotion. Remember, you are not the emotion. In contrast, when a non-emotional has been taught to totally disconnect from feelings, it can make them feel very stoic and unemotional. To be clear, non-emotionals still have emotions, so it's important that they recognize those, and important that they tune into the emotions of others because it contains important information that's meant to make them wiser about life and about people. As a non-emotional, you can read people's states very well. Don't shut that gift off by believing that feeling is weak or bad. Sensing other people's emotions is a useful skill. When you're able to clearly read other people's states, you know when is a good time to be around them or not, say something or not, bring up the thing you wanted to say or not. You can also help them become more aware of how they're feeling. Remember that if someone is feeling that 2 out of 10 anger, they might not even be aware of it, whereas when you sense it in a 6 out of 10 way, you can be their mirror. Tuning into other people allows you to navigate relationships with those people in a much wiser way. Just to explain the contrast, emotionals often have poor visibility on how they're feeling, let alone how others are feeling, because they're so mired in their own feelings. It's often difficult to step out of them. They need non-emotionals like you to show them and help them navigate. Clarity is in the now. Since you are that clear lake, it's very easy for you to see things as they are. However, 50% of the world is emotional, meaning that their vision can be colored by the mood they're in, so they can't always see so objectively. With all the emotionals in your life, remember that they won't have clarity in the now moment. It's only when they've settled into a relatively neutral mood that they can see things as they are. So just remember that it takes them more time to be clear on their thoughts and feelings, even though it's easy for you. Emptying out. You're a sonar, picking up on so many things over the course of the day. In order to use this non-emotional gift properly, you need to be aware of all the signals you've absorbed from others over the course of the day so that you can flush them out and stay that clear sonar, unencumbered by emotional interference from the outside world. Whenever you feel thrown into some emotion or reaction, whenever you get frustrated or down or overly swept up in any emotion, whether high or low, remind yourself that it's just what you're experiencing because of your circumstances. It's not you. You're either picking up on other people's emotions, in which case they're not yours to hold on to, or you're feeling a certain way because a life situation has made you feel that, and that's completely normal. Either way, there's no need to attach yourself to those emotions so deeply. Create this separation in your mind of you and the feelings so that everything you pick up on doesn't stick around and continue to affect you. Let it wash over you and leave just as quickly as it came so that you can always return easily to your natural state without any extra stuff. We call this emptying out.